The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it's Monday.
It's Monday. Hooray, after a great weekend of crime and punishment.
You're a little low again on the volume, but you got your mic on?
I said.
Okay.
I said it's another weekend of crime and punishment.
Mostly crime.
Mostly crime.
Mostly crime. Not a heck of a lot of punishment. But.
Yeah, I keep forgetting to turn up that gain when I come out of the thing, because when we start streaming, I kill the mics. But so, are you ready for another project like King Phillip Mill?
Yep.
City prepares to take over the Duro Properties. Are these going to be more market rate housing?
Who knows? And how long are they going to hold on to them? I like this article when they pat themselves. Cities always working. Quote. This is a quote. The city always works with the taxpayer to get the taxes paid. We don't want the real estate, but we keep getting it. We keep taking it anyway. So we don't want it, but we take it anyway. And it's another quote, since 2011, we've collected $14 million in past due taxes and only foreclosed on 18 properties, 9 of which were condominiums. Well, 2011 was a long time ago, $14 million. How much went uncollected?
Exactly. That's always the big question.
That's the thing I want to know. How much back taxes do we have, or how many were forgiven? And is that going to be in the number of uncollected taxes, the debts that were forgiven in many cases? So you look, another look. This city never ever.
But the interesting thing is, this property actually has a $125 million mortgage on it.
Yeah.
So why isn't the bank not paying the taxes?
Well, I mean, that would be a logical question. But then again...
Maybe the bank says, hey, it's Fall River. They don't care.
So they preclude it. The bank probably said, why should we pay the back taxes? We'll just let it go like the owner and let Fall River take it over.
Exactly.
Write
off the $125 million as a tax loss, you know?
Yeah, this is, those things are all valid questions because for the average person, if you don't do something, you can bet you they're going to go after you. You know, if you're liable at all, they're going after you. And they're going to go after every asset you got. And a bank, obviously, if they have the property, is responsible for the property, because they're they hold the mortgage on it. So, the buck stops there. But, another logical question in a city that doesn't do anything in logically or never does anything differently, which segues right into Marc Monroe's column.
Good old Marc.
Isn't that a nice, smooth segue?
Very smooth, very smooth.
Well, we go from, hey, the same old with Duro, and Marc is going on vacation. I hope you have a nice vacation, Marc.
Yeah, if anyone deserves one, he does.
Yeah, and I guess he's really, in the Fall River thing, he's going to go over to... He's gonna go over to Bristol or something on his all the way to Bristol. It's like, you just want a trip to Tiverton. But again, we can't do that anymore. And after next year, they'll have a casino over there.
I guess when he's on vacation, as he says, that's when Fall River politics vanish.
Yeah. That's the only time. It's true. But he talks about the people who got back in, who basically never changed anything in the city the way we do business. And I kind of disagree that, hey, I think if you earn your spot, you should get your spot. If you stand up for the people and if you do your job, if you do what you were paid to do, represent the people or whatever job you're doing. That's the problem. If you're a fiduciary, you're supposed to mind the money. You're not supposed to just give it to your friends and not give it to your enemies or something like that. And, you know, I believe that, you know, you just don't change for the sake of change. But we keep talking about draining the swamp here because this is kind of a microcosm of the federal government. We wonder why nobody ever gets a break. You know, it's because, hey, guess what? They never change because they don't have to. They're never kicked out of office. Right. That's the problem. And if they were doing the right thing, they should, I don't care if they stay in office for 100 years. But if they're not doing the right thing, and all we got to do is look to the feds. Look what the feds are doing, you know, on everything. And somebody even wrote a book. I was watching, I think I was watching Full Measure, one of the programs. They had somebody who wrote a book about the healthcare system. And they're saying, well, you know, we'll eventually come up with a healthcare, you know, that's beneficial for everyone. No, you're not.
No.
No, you're not.
No.
You know, other countries have, yeah, because other countries realize that all the top countries know that healthcare should not be a business. It should be, that's why they all have a form of socialized medicine.
Correct.
Because it's not, healthcare cannot be a business, a for-profit business, because when it's a for-profit business, profit goes before the person's health.
And the funny thing is, you know, those governments also pay to train their doctors. And after those doctors are trained and they do their required minimums of service, where do they go? The United States.
Most of them. Although I did see one documentary where one British doctor, they were talking about him, they said, you know, why don't you go to the United States? You'd make a lot more money. And his answer, I thought, was really, really, really telling. He said, well, look, I would make more money in the United States, but I do pretty well here. He said, and as a physician, I prefer to be in a healthcare system where I can make my decisions purely based on what's best for the patient and not what's best for the company I work for, or, you know, or the healthcare industry. Right. And that's the key. Here, you know, their bottom line is making as much money, and if that means denying you care or making you fight for 6 months to get a test you should have got in the first place, that's the American healthcare system because, you know, and a woman's making a lot of money on the book, and the reality is all that book proves that this country will never, because it's all about money. And we got CVS Careless now buying out another one, almost $70 billion. Yes, yep. $70 billion bucks, and the CEO gets almost $33 million a year. And who's jacking up the prices of generics through the ceiling again? Yep. They're predatory. And what's happening in Washington? Does anybody remember about, what, 6 months to a year ago when they had the senator's daughter in there about the EpiPens?
Yep. Oh,
what's happened?
Nothing.
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 Again, it's like Fall River. They talk a good game, or they come up with these ideas that are not applicable to Fall River, and nothing ever changes.
And you, the voter, you, the voter, you, the viewer, you vote for these idiots over and over again, and you expect things to change. That's not how it works. That is not how it works. When has Leo Pelletier ever done anything to change the face of Fall River? When has Joe Camara ever done anything to change the face of Fall River? When? Yeah. When has Steve Long done anything to change the face of Fall River? Yeah. They haven't. Yeah. Well, these are people that have done nothing.
Well, they always talk about, well, hey, look, you got to give Steve Long credit. He actually said in front of the camera that, hey, I made a good living for like 8 generations here. My family. That's right. We've been on a public dole, and it's look, it's kind of refreshing to see a politician admit it, because most of them tell them they tell you what a great job they're doing, and they give you all these stories. Where Leo, the last time when he didn't get in, he admitted, he said, look, I'm immediately going to go look for another city job.
Right, and he
got one.
Right.
And now he's back in. So, as you said, we can complain about what they do, but the fact is you get what you get what you elect.
That's right.
And you get the government, unfortunately, you know, and I know that old adage, it's like you get the government you deserve, but I don't think that's 100% accurate. Because people who actually vote by looking at what somebody has done, if they fought for the people, if they stood up for the people, well, they get screwed. Because he said, you know, and that's the problem. The problem is they vote because it's beneficial for them, or as Bonaparte said, self-interest. That's what they vote for, because somebody told them to vote for that, because I know the guy that can get you something if we get this guy in. Not that this guy's going to do a good job, but I know the fact that this guy will play ball with these people, and that's not the way it's supposed to be. You're supposed to do what is best for the people in government. You're elected as a representative, but that's long gone. I mean, in Washington, in Boston, and here, it's like we see it all the time, and we keep telling everybody, but when's the last time we ever drained the swamp even a little bit? Virtually never. I think the last time they had any kind of even what you would call above a insignificant shift in Boston was how many years ago when they had the Halloween massacre? When they all convened to give themselves a big pay raise and circumvent the law at the time, which we had to vote their pay raises in. And guess what? They booted some out. And when was the last time in Fall River we had a significant change in the city council? 1995?
Yeah, and that really wasn't much of a change.
And it wasn't much of a change, but there were five councilors. The majority of the city council got ousted. But that was the last time you saw a major shift. And I'm not talking about a major shift because these people decided to run for mayor or retire or do whatever. I'm talking about sitting city councilors that ran for re-election getting bounced. And that was 1995. So, you know, it's
I think that was the Portuguese massacre.
yeah, they called it the Portuguese Mafia, yeah, and they got rid of them because they were voting as a bloc, and the perception was, but the people finally got outraged, kind of like they did with the recall, but that's the problem. The problem is they're reactionary, and they vote the right way only when they get it's so far gone and it's so irritated that you're on the verge of a revolution, then they do that, and then they go back into their caves and stay there until it gets so bad. Again, you have to take drastic action rather than just making a conscious effort to try to get people in there who are representing you, keeping the people who represent you, booting the people who don't, getting rid of the people who raise taxes and fees, and then immediately switch the tax factor to put a bigger burden on you. But it's like nobody. It's not that nobody cares. I think that it's just like they do this, and it's like, let the other guy make the change. I'm going to vote for my guy, and he can stay in even though he's a clown, but he's my clown. So I can give him a call. I know him. I'll see him at the restaurant, and I'll talk to him, and I might get a street light. So I'm going to keep him in, even though he's a bonehead. And I'm going to get in, so I won't vote him out. And then you end up with everybody with that attitude. That's why we continue to get the same over and over and over again. I mean, look, we basically, I think long before the election, we said that chances were very, very high, and it was almost a guarantee that Leo Pelletier and Brad Kilby were going to get back in. And it wasn't a difficult call, and they did. So we only had we've got one new face on the council.
Yep, it's just, recycle, recycle, recycle. And the problem is that, the old adage of if you do something the same way every time, expecting it to be different, you're stupid, you're crazy. Well, this is what's happening.
It's a definition of insanity.
It's the true definition of insanity. And the problem is that the people of Fall River, yes, the people of Fall River, don't care. You say you care, but if you cared, every year you'd have 63 people running for city council, and none of the incumbents would get reelected. None. Not one, not two, none. Because you want to keep changing that face of government.
Yeah,
because
well, that was
if you change the face of government enough, sooner or later it's going to click.
Yeah, well,
and this excuse of, well, people need to get experience. No, they don't. When the President of the United States takes office, he has no experience. And when you keep putting these people back in office over and over again, and maybe it's just that you just believe that that's the way it should be, then you get things like the Mass House, the Mass Senate, the U.S. House, and the U.S. Senate. These people don't know anything but this job. Yeah. And that's the scary part about it.
Well, you're right, CJ. The fact is that, look, they talk about experience. That's baloney, especially on a local level. This is the place you need the least amount of experience to be a city councilor. All you have to do as a city councilor is look at an issue like a taxpayer. That's all you have to do. Sit down and look at it like a taxpayer. Say, what is this going to do for the average person in the city of Fall River? That's all you have to do. You don't need, this is not the federal, you're not the president of the United States. That's why he gets a cabinet, because the president of the United States has to basically run a complex national system of everything. We got to deal with national defense and the economy and everything. I mean, that's why they have a cabinet. That's why they have all these subdivisions. So the president can have experts to give him counsel on how to make a decision. But ultimately, even as complex as that is, he's got the assistants. The decisions that they make as politicians should come down to one very simple bottom line. What is best for the people? Not what's best for my political party, not what's best for me and my friends, but what's best for the American people overall. And in the city of Fall River, the decision should be what's best for the taxpayers in the city of Fall River. And that's never a consideration.
Chip, I just received a notice from the Massachusetts Senate. Senate President Rosenberg has just stepped down under the assault allegations against his husband, Brian Heffman. So, Senate President Stanley Rosenberg has stepped down as Senate President because of the allegations against his husband. Just had to let you know right now. Just received.
Okay,
it.
No, that's an important. Yeah, that'll be on the national news tonight. But you heard it here first.
Yep,
on Spindle City Straight Talk.
We make sure we give you that information. And hey, Dave, yeah, I know. Like we pay them to sit in hall for a piano all day. Dave sent us a message. He goes, we're paying them to sit in City Hall for the piano.
Yeah.
That's the piano that Joe Macy just gave the city as a gift.
It's probably out of tune. No, but I'm surprised that initially he said he wasn't going to step down.
No, but he did.
Yeah,
and did you see the state senator that was behind him during the press conference?
When he walked out of he stopped quick. Mike Rodriguez was going to disappear.
Yep,
he was so close.
But
who knows? He may be the new the Senate president.
That's right. That's a possibility now.
That is a real possibility. Maybe that's what they were talking about in that back room.
That's right.
Who knows? And but maybe they won't kiss and tell.
Well, Brian Heffman won't. That's for sure.
But yeah. So again, politics again with all this stuff, but what do? There goes his. I guess. Does he lose his $80,000 stipend?
Yes. Yes, he's no longer president.
Well, that necessarily doesn't mean anything up there.
True.
You're talking about Boston.
I know.
They may give it to him as a going away present.
I was going to say a farewell boost.
Yeah,
to his pension.
a farewell bump, and once you get it, you never lose it.
That's
something
right.
like that. That may be anything they get up there. They the average person in Fall River can lose their job, they can lose their house, they can lose anything. Everything's subject to loss. But when you're a politician, virtually nothing is subject to loss.
That's true.
And that's one of the keys. That's one of the problems we have in our society. I remember years ago a professor in college told me, and he was a very, very good professor, And he said to me that America's strength is also its greatest weakness. Its greatest strength is also its greatest weakness. He said, everybody gets to vote. And he said, you look at the issues, you try to do what you feel is right based on the issues. He said, and your vote is canceled out by somebody who doesn't care what the issue is. You know, if he can't have a shotgun rack in his truck, he's not going to vote for the person. And that's basically the reality. You know, when they run for any office, and you know, president or something like that, that's what they do. They mock it. It's no longer you know, Lincoln Douglas debates. It's no longer people reading newspapers and listening to debates and having to choose the person by listening to what you're listening to issues now. It's all marketing. It's, you know, for years now, it's been basically marketing campaigns. And that's what they do. It's lying, innuendo, half-truths. That's what they do. I mean, even when George Bush ran for governor of Texas, you remember that, CJ?
Yes, I do.
And they you know, what they did was they put out a few rumors about the sitting governor that damaged her greatly, and he ended up winning. And, you know, that's what they do. They spin things, you know. And that's one of the problems with American politics. It's not the politicians. I mean, hey, they're doing what they got to do to get elected. It's the people. They don't do their homework. And we tell you all the time, do your homework.
And sometimes these people scare me. I'll tell you right now. So to move on to another major issue in Fall River, we spoke about earlier when we opened the show, crime. Fall River police investigate 2 stabbings. A mail carrier over the weekend. The mail carrier wasn't stabbed, but he was robbed. A postal worker called police at 4:30 p.m. Saturday to report that a stranger just threatened him with a large kitchen knife and made off with the cash the mail carrier had in his pocket.
Federal offense.
I was going to say, do these people not realize it's a federal offense?
You're not going to have. You're not only going to have Fall River PD looking for you. You're going to have the feds looking for you.
Yeah, the Postal Inspection Service is going to be looking
right.
for you too. You know, the robber was described at about 5 foot 8 inches with thin build, wearing a black jacket and blue jeans. He was a white male, about 25 to 30 years old. Police report. At 9 p.m. at the corner of East Main and South Main Street, again East Main Street, a 41-year-old man called for help after he got stabbed by a stranger. The man told us that he had just been punched, but then he realized it was more serious than that. The man was taken to Rhode Island Hospital in Providence for treatment. You notice that everybody's going to go to Rhode Island Hospital?
Yeah, I'm noticing that he must have really been. He might have been punched and got so he might have been probably seriously hurt, because if he couldn't tell the difference between a punch and a stabbing, that's pretty easy to tell in most cases.
And the police think it's the same person. So, because the description is very similar. A young man, around 5'7", thin, wearing dark clothing. So, stay off of East Main Street. Police returned to Rhode Island Hospital at 4 a.m. when a man called for help. He had a large laceration to his neck that was caused from a blow from a broken bottle, police report.
Wow.
This is ridiculous. But
Yeah.
that injury was described as a domestic incident, and that was under investigation. Injuries to the man were not considered life-threatening. I'm telling you, Fall River. This is how we market Fall River. I'll tell you, amazing.
Well, a laceration, I don't know the legalese. It's like, I mean, I would consider being stabbed with a bottle and stabbed with a knife the same thing. It's still a stabbing, you know, laceration caused by they tried to cut you.
Right, exactly, exactly.
So actually, we probably had like one stabbing and one pseudo stabbing, I guess. I don't know. But
Yeah. Hey, I went to South Coast Marketplace on Friday and Saturday. On Saturday, I went to the opening of PetSmart, which is the new pet store over there. They don't sell dogs and cats, but they do sell birds and fish. They have all the goodies that your dog or cat could ever want. It was a great grand opening. The mayor was there. I saw him, and he was taking a tour of the grooming section. I and my dog Bentley went for a walk through the grooming section, and we walked through the store. And Bentley got a free toy from the store. They gave him a squirrel that squeaks, just what I need, another furry animal.
For him to squeak all night, yep.
Yeah, and it looks like a rat.
Well, that's what a squirrel is. It's a rat with a big bushy tail. It's a rodent, so it's...
And you know, in the middle of the night when you see it, you go, oh my God, what's this rat doing? Because the dog brings it to the bed.
Well, the only thing is, if you're going to go to PetSmart, which I know is a very, they have 99% of the stuff, but if you have Taste of the Wild, if you use Taste of the Wild,
They don't have it.
They don't have it there.
No. But I'll tell you, I bought a couple of items there, you know, and I have my own local pet store that I go to all the time. But I bought a few items there. But every time I bought something, I got an email with a coupon. Come and get this for free. Come and get that for free. So I don't know how they're going to stay in business, but I'll tell you, it was a lot of people there. And it's great to see this new marketplace really bustling with people. They have Christmas decorations up. It looks very nice. So it's reminiscent of the days of Bradley's and Kmart and when the mall was always busy. I mean, there's no inside mall this time, but you know, it was very nice. And you had to say, you know, this looks very interesting.
Well, your review of the 110 Grill
oh my God.
met with wonderful response, eh?
Yeah, I mean, I thought I was going to be put up on a cross and burned. You know, it was a relatively benign review. It just stated my opinion, how I felt. It's a beautiful place. It is. You're paying for the atmosphere. But $17 for a fish and chip in Fall River just doesn't cut it. I mean, I pay $17 and I get a seafood platter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm pretty close.
I get scallops and fried clams and, you know, fish and I get real French fries, not these shoestring French fries. McDonald's French fries are better than this place's French fries. And it's not even local cod. It's Icelandic cod.
Which means it's frozen.
No, they say it's not frozen. They say it all gets shipped in daily fresh.
Oh, yeah?
But
from
they say
Iceland?
nothing's frozen. Everything's made from scratch, so you can order any way you like there.
You know who used to use Icelandic cod? Remember the Arthur Treach's fish and chips chain?
Yep.
That's what they used.
Yeah. But you're paying for that ambiance. They have a nice fireplace outside. They have fire torches outside as well for lighting. I'm not saying don't try it. I think, you know, people would like it for a special night out. $32 ribeye, $13 to $18 for a salad. Desserts were pretty comparable to everywhere else. You know, $8 or so. And dessert is a high profit item for every restaurant.
Yeah, well, you know,
but they only had two
I know
soups.
you're not saying anything negative, but the fact is, look, again, they don't look at the demographic. You know, a $17 fish and chip place is not going to last in a city where, number one, people don't have a lot of money, and you can get fish and chips for like $8.95 and $9.95.
But you know, that's what people are saying.
Anywhere in the city.
And you know what people who read the profiles, the review said? Well, if you can't afford to eat there, then don't go out and eat.
Well, that's the point. Well, I mean, you know, that's the point. And you know something? They're right in a way, and that's the reason these places don't stay in business. But our leadership in this city can't figure out why we can't, you know, keep businesses and why we need to cultivate small businesses and give people money to spend. Because if you stopped killing a taxpayer, they might have enough money to go out there and buy something. But they can't. You're right. And not only that, a place that sells $17 fish and chips is not going to survive in a city where you can get a fish and chip order as good, if not better, for $8.95 or $9.95.
Right.
And that's simple economics, people.
You know, and they made comments about, well, it was the first of the month. Everyone must have got their checks. I was like, give it a rest. I go out to dinner all the time. I go out with Chip even. We can't pay our bills. Hey, we'll see you on Wednesday. Oh, tonight, 6 o'clock here on Channel 95. It's North Pole Live. If you have any kids that you want to bring here to the studio, feel free. They can meet Santa and have Dave Mello read them some Christmas stories.
I'll be at the South Pole.
Have a great day.